What is up, Loudmouth Sports Talk, Loudmouth Entertainment? It's your boy, Loudmouth Luch, back with another episode of Off the Top Rope. Man, we have a lot to talk about today. We got the week of wrestling. We got some wrestling news. We got my early predictions for WrestleMania. And we got Black History Month. I did pick some Black History African Americans who really, I feel, made a big impact in the wrestling community. So we're going to start with just a week of wrestling. Start with the Royal Rumble. I honestly felt that the women's was better than the men's. And maybe it was because all the spots and everything that they do was done again. It was done another time. What's up, Justin? But maybe it was because when all the women do the same spots, almost the same spots as the men, it's like, okay, we kind of seen this already tonight. So maybe that's why I felt the women's was better, because it's almost the same spots, almost the same exact stuff, just over. So that was my opinion. And again, Roman versus Kevin Owens, they definitely had the match of the night, in my opinion, definitely killed it. Only thing that I did not like was women did dominate. I will agree with the wife. The women dominated. But the one thing, like I said, about the Roman match was the handcuff incident. I don't know if it was on Paul's part. I don't know whose part it was on. But I do feel like maybe they should have loosened the chain for the cuffs and he could have busted it. I feel like if Roman would have broke the cuffs, it would have meant more than Paul releasing him. And it took him so long that the ref had to stop counting, which was terrible. But other than like that little hiccup, I do believe it was a good match. The golf cart incident, obviously, a lot of people was like, that's so over the top. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. And then, then we go to the Royal Rumble match, the men's Royal Rumble. One thing I have to say about the commentating, stop mentioning that Randy Orton never got eliminated. If you would have stopped mentioning that, people would have not seen it coming. The fact that they kept going backstage, and even when they showed him backstage getting his ankle checked on, they were like, oh, just remember, he wasn't eliminated. Like, what are you doing? Why? Why keep mentioning that? Because you're ruining it for the fans. Now the fans know he's not eliminated. He's coming back. And we know it. We know it. That's the one complaint with commentating that I had. The fact that you guys continuously always want to state we know he's not eliminated. Like, I called it the minute he got eliminated. I even stated, I said, listen, he's not eliminated. He'll be back. And I bet because of that, I thought he was going to win. Honestly, I did. But then we're going to go on the Raw, where Sheamus turned heel on Drew. Kicked him, bro, kicked him. It's about time. And it's about time that Sheamus is heel. Sheamus is not a good face, in my opinion. Sheamus is better with a heel. So it works. It's good for Sheamus. And I do believe, what's up, Joe? And to be honest, I think Sheamus versus Drew at WrestleMania doesn't sound that bad. But then you had, and we talked about them always mentioning that Randy wasn't eliminated. WWE, what are you doing with Randy's face? Gentleman Joe, the next WWE champion. Oh my God, my boy is something. But what are y'all doing with Randy's face? 1 week, he got hit with the fireball. Next week, he was in a mask. The week after that, he was shown with makeup on his face to make it look burnt. And then the Rumble, everything's fine. His face is clear. They didn't even mention why. It's just like stuff like that. You guys, WWE, in my opinion, you guys have to follow through. If you guys would follow through more often, it might not be as bad. Might not be as bad, but when you half-ass it, it's terrible. It's terrible. Completely terrible. We have Priest on the main roster. I don't think it's terrible. I mean, will he probably get shit on and forgot about? Probably. It happens to everybody who gets on the main roster. But at the same time, what do you expect? They have, what, dozens of, like, wrestlers. What do you expect to happen? It's going to happen. But from what they're doing right now, it's not bad. They're not doing a bad job with him. He had that thing with Bad Bunny. If that continues, I mean, him and Bad Bunny can go to Mania together. It could happen. Again, we're going to talk about the Hurt. I mean, not again, but we're going to talk about the Hurt business. Are they going to break up? Is Lashley going to leave the Hurt business? Or is Cedric Alexander going to leave? Or is it just going to break up altogether? My opinion, I don't think it should break up. I think it's a great faction, even though Vince doesn't like the word faction. It's a great group, but it is a great faction. It's amazing. The way they run it, I do believe MVP should not do any sort of wrestling, which I haven't seen. I can't think about the last time I seen MVP wrestle, so thank God he stopped doing that, because that was something I couldn't. Not that he can't, it's just the fact that you came in and said, I'm going to run the Hurt business, then you start wrestling. Like, I don't get it, but I don't want to see the Hurt business break up. I don't want to see them. I mean, if Bobby Lashley leaves, whatever, you could bring in Keith Lee. You could bring in Omos if you do it correctly. That's a stretch. You could bring in Mark Henry. You can bring Mark Henry back. Titus O'Neil at that point. Darren Young, you could rehire. Ron Simmons. There's people, but I don't know who would actually replace Bobby. But I think Bobby is going to leave Cedric. I don't know what they're going to do with that one, but we'll see. Now let's go into NXT. Edge's promo on NXT was great. Now, I've read that it was kind of taking a shot at what Undertaker said about how it's like less wrestling, more entertainment, da-da-da-da-da. Edge said, I like NXT because, SmackDown, Raw, they're the E, they're the entertainment. NXT's that second W, World Wrestling. I thought that was something special. The reason I think that was something special is because of the fact that it was Edge saying, hey, it's Edge. Edge is not the most terrible wrestler. And at the end of the day, it's true. I mean, between SmackDown has very good wrestling and wrestlers. Raw has always been for entertainment. And SmackDown for a while was the wrestling show. Now I do believe NXT has become the wrestling show, primarily because of it being filled with somewhat of independent. That's why I think it is primarily the wrestling show on WWE. SmackDown still has great A1 matches and wrestlers. Don't get me wrong. But NXT, it's the reason that they're called NXT the Next, because they are the next superstars of wrestling. And then Cross catches Edge outside and says, listen, I don't care what any of them say, meaning Finn and Pete Dunne. I'm going to be champion, so choose wisely where you're going, who you're going to challenge for a championship. That, I would love to see Karrion Kross versus Edge. I'd love to see Pete Dunne versus Edge. I'd love to see Finn Balor versus Edge. You give me any of them, and I'm sitting in front of the TV. That's a fact. And I just want to talk about Leon Ruff. Now, normally I'm not a fan of him. He's a knockoff of Lio Rush. But him pulling an Eddie Guerrero was amazing. He got punched, or he didn't even get punched. He and fell. And was just like, why'd you hit me? Why'd you hit me? And he got Johnny Gargano kicked out from ringside. That's great. That is great. I love that. Whether it was Paul or Sean who came up with that one, great one, because that was fantastic. Fantastic. Then we're going to go to SmackDown. Not, in my opinion, not too much to talk about on SmackDown. Roman Reigns' promo, was good. Edge's promo back was good. Kevin Owens coming out and stunning Roman. I just don't know where they're going with this and where they're going to keep it going. Honestly, I'll throw out one of my Mania predictions. It's going to be Roman versus KO, in my opinion. I'm seeing that. But we'll get to that a little bit later. And then Ruby Riot's little corner bump. Listen. No, it wasn't botched. That was beautiful. Beautiful. She executed it perfect. She made it look like it actually hurt, which is fantastic. And, the sell. Just the sell. And, she kept holding it. The sell. It was all about the sell. Ruby Riot is money in the right match with the right opponent. And that's the problem. But let's just go on to AEW, where some big shit happened. Some big shit. We're going to start with the Tag Team Battle Royal. The Young Bucks were in the match. They're the damn champions. Why are they in the fucking match? Why are they in the fucking match? They're the champions. It makes no sense. None. If they win, they don't get to fight at the next pay-per-view or at the next whatever. That's so dumb. So dumb. In my opinion, I thought it was stupid. I was not a fan. The wedding that happened. Now that was funny as hell. Now that's hilarious shit right there. That's hilarious shit. On Miro. No, don't ask that. I've been here before and it doesn't end well. Him attacking the box. All of that shit was just fantastic. Fantastic. When he attacked that box, I seriously laughed out loud. I laughed. It was hilarious. Hilarious. Now we're going to go to the Lumberjack match with Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer. Match, not bad. But I want to say about I want to talk about the Lumberjacks, not the match. Because the Lumberjacks did their damn job. They did the goddamn job. That's your goddamn job. If you're a face, you really don't do nothing. You might attack the heel a little bit. And if you're a heel, you're beating the shit out of the babyface every time that son of a bitch goes over the rope. And they were doing their job. That's what I like to see in a Lumberjack match. Not this measly, don't touch him, let him get back in, or wait till. No. You're heel, he's heel, you help him at the end of the day. The Lumberjacks did their job on AEW, and I was proud as hell to see a real Lumberjack match again. That shit was nice. Was the match good? Wasn't bad. But the Lumberjacks did their damn job, and that's what I liked. Then Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. That was a hell of a match. I just want to mention that. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it was a good match. Thunder Rosa is fantastic. Britt Baker got some learning, but she's good too. She is going to be something, but Thunder Rosa is something. She's something special, in my opinion. Then we go to the main event. Good Brothers and Kenny Omega versus Moxley Phoenix and Pac. Match good, obviously. I mean, look who's in it. You know, I mean, it's Good Brothers. Even though Carl Anderson is as generic as, you know, whatever Enzo said, you know, Times New Roman's font, whatever. It is true. He is generic, but he is good. He knows his craft. So match wasn't bad. Was not bad at all. The ending. You know, they're all fighting. Lance Archer comes out. He gets his ass, you know, a little bit handed to him. Excuse me. Mox gets up, tries to help. Someone attacks Mox. Now I'm thinking this might be somebody, you know, that is going to join the Bullet Club. Maybe another member from maybe Impact. Maybe somebody from the Independents. Whatever. And then he takes the hood off. He takes the mask, and it's Kenta. Which means the forbidden door is open. The forbidden door is open. Which means pretty much AEW is partnered with New Japan, Impact, NWA, and if I'm correct, AAA. If I'm correct. That's fucking deadly. That's fucking deadly. If we're going to be honest. That is something, I mean, the fact that Kenta, and I mean, the fact that New Japan and AEW have a partnership, we all knew it was coming, but when we just didn't know, that I was just sitting back waiting. Now from here, what would you do? That gets a little iffy depending on how you want to take it. I would not do an invasion. It's not like that. What I would just like to see an AEW versus New Japan, or you just have them go from promotion to promotion. You have Impact wrestlers. I mean, honestly, you had Impact wrestlers that night there. You had NWA wrestlers. And you had New Japan wrestlers there. With AEW, this is like, it was crazy. I seriously freaked out. I had chills for like minutes because, and before anyone says anything, I don't think they're trying to just go knock down Vince's doors and kill WWE. I just think that they want to give people other options. There's other options out there to watch. There's other wrestling out there to watch other than WWE, which is entertainment based. If that's the wrestling you like, then go watch that. That's fine. But some people like technical bell-to-bell wrestling, New Japan. I still think that AEW is entertainment based somewhat. I think it's 50-50 wrestling and entertainment, but I do think that AEW is entertainment. But I can say that New Japan is 90% wrestling, bell-to-bell company. I can say Impact is also, honestly. AAA, I'm not going to lie, I don't watch a lot of it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what's going on. You only have 3 viewers on your show, but when I am on 10 more viewers, viewers drop, now we know who the true... Please, son. Please, Sean. No one cares about your comments, okay? Because no one cares about you. No one cares. So you got me off track. I don't watch a lot of AAA, I'm not going to lie. Not too much. I'll watch a show here, match here, whatever. But if they are partnered with AAA, that's just another, just more wrestlers to throw into the mix. I honestly want to see, I want to see the alleged Bullet Club, which is reformed, go against the actual Bullet Club. That's what I want to see. Bullet Club versus fake Bullet Club, because that's honestly what it is. That would be crazy. That would be tremendous. Tremendous. But that is the week of wrestling. Now, we're going to get on to the news. In the news of wrestling. Now, Christian signed a part-time deal. He is now a part-timer. He's obviously not going to be wrestling all the time because he is under part-time contract. But somebody else says he will not be part-time because he does not want to be a part-timer, which is Edge. Edge obviously signed a deal last year. Now he has won the Rumble, which makes him, everybody knows he gets a championship shot at Mania. So, with that being said, who will he pick? It's between Finn or Pete, whoever wins. Finn, Roman, Drew. Now, I don't see, Edge versus Roman might not be bad. I don't want to see Edge versus Drew. And to be honest, you put Edge versus Roman, that's going to make Edge's spear look weak. Because at the end of the day, Edge is like 70 something, and Roman's over 2. And if you let him win, if you let Edge win with a spear, I think that just completely kills Roman Reigns. I think that completely shatters everything that you just built. That's what I just don't see. I just don't see it. Then we go to Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's going to be at WrestleMania, folks. Whether you want it or not, he's going to be at WrestleMania. Now, with that, it could be good. It could be bad. I don't want to see him if he's not I just don't want, if he's trained a little bit, which I've read he has been. So if Bad Bunny takes the proper steps, it might not be bad. His splash he did, not even a splash. A dive off the rope was better than Snoop's frog splash. So got more credit than he does, honestly. So, I honestly think he will. They're selling merch with Bad Bunny on it. I just think that, and if Vince wants to target a younger audience, Bad Bunny's the way to do it. He's internationally known. He's huge, where he's from. And, why not? Do I think his music is great? No, not fully. I think some of his music is, good, club or, get ready to turn up music, but I don't think it's nothing, great and spectacular. No. But at the end of the day, you still just got to do what you got to do. And I do think that Vince is going to have Bad Bunny, and it's not bad for either one of them. We already talked about the Forbidden Door being open. That thing, that's nuts. The fact that we could possibly be getting New Japan in AEW, because there's a good bit of New Japan wrestlers that live in the U.S., so they can easily go to either, whether it's Impact, because I believe Impact's not shot that far from Jacksonville. AEW, I think those are the only two big ones, I would say. But at the same time, you have so much more that could be accomplished now. Like I said before, I don't think that they're going to go in and try to completely take over WWE. They don't want to kill Vince. I just think that they want to prove to him that, dude, you're not the only wrestling company. You're not the only wrestling company that matters. There's a lot more talent out there than just WWE superstars. And, hey, if they do somehow make Vince, weak in a way or vulnerable, that's a bonus for them. But I honestly don't think that that's their target. I don't think that their target is to make sure that WWE is no longer around. Their target is just to provide more wrestling for wrestling fans and to show Vince that there's other things out there for wrestlers to do. Other than just little, city to city independent promotions. There's more to it than just little promotions. There's a lot more. And that's what this partnership is going to show. It's going to show so much that we're going to get great matches out of this. Fantastic matches. I mean, we're going to get Mox versus Kenta. That's like, will it happen on AEW? Who knows? It might. I mean, the NWA championship got defended on AEW. Women's championship got defended on AEW. I don't see why the, New Japan's United States Championship can't be defended. If it's okayed by the owner of New Japan, it would probably be fine. So we might be able to get that on a episode of Dynamite. So the possibilities are endless. And then we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to backtrack a little bit to the Royal Rumble, which is pretty much, I just want to talk about, it's not that much, but father and son. First father and son to be in a Royal Rumble together is Dominic and Rey Mysterio. To me, this is huge because, this is probably something that they dreamed about. This is probably something that they've wanted for their whole life, especially probably Dominic. The fact that he was probably in a match with his father, to him is probably amazing. And I can understand. I could definitely understand. His father, is a huge thing in wrestling. He's not just important in some aspects. I do believe Rey Mysterio is a very impactful guy when it comes to wrestling. He's done a lot. So I just want to say, I just thought that was interesting. And also, this is one of the oldest Royal Rumbles ever. The two youngest guys were Otis, who is 28, and Dominic, which is 24. Everybody else was 30 and above, which I'm not saying that's terrible. I'm not saying it, but I'm just, in a way, that's just you have to start giving more younger guys chances, in my opinion. I just want to see it. When you give a younger guy the chance, you might not know what can come from it. Look what happened when you gave John Cena a chance. Look what happened. So you never know what can come from this. So the fact that, we had superstars of today. We had Randy. We had Drew. But none of these guys are young. So I'd like to see more NXT stars also come to the Rumble. So, and then I'm just going to get into my Mania predictions real fast before we get into the Black History Month, because there's a lot to talk about at that point. My Mania predictions so far for the 3 titles, which is NXT, Universal, and WWE. My predictions for Edge, I really do think he's going to verse either CrossFit or Pete Dunne. Those are titles he hasn't held yet. I get it, the Universal he's never held, but the Universal is pretty much the world heavyweight. But that's pretty much all it is. So he might look at that and go I kind of already held that, so it doesn't really matter. And then I'm thinking Roman versus Kevin Owens. And then I'm taking Drew versus Sheamus, with Miz cashing in on that one and coming out victorious. That's my predictions so far for Mania. It might change week by week. Who knows? But I know for a fact, I do believe it's going to be Roman versus Kevin. That one might stick. But let's get into the Black History Month. I was really excited to do this because some of the best athletes in wrestling have been African American. So, I'm just going to jump right in. So the first person I want to talk about is Bobo Brazil. He was the first African American, from my knowledge and from my research, to win a wrestling championship belt. He debuted in 1951. He retired in 1993. He was 6'6" and he weighed 270 pounds. It's a big boy. He won. These are some of the titles that he's held. He's held the NWA US Heavyweight title 9 times. The NWA World Tag Team titles 8 times. Both of those were in the Detroit territories. The NWA American Heavyweight title 3 times, and the NWA TV title 1 time. Those were in the Hollywood territory. So Bobo Brazil, for the people who just are tuning in, we're talking about Black History Month and Black African American wrestlers. Now we're talking about Bobo Brazil. If you guys remember anything about him, throw something in the comments. Would love to talk. I don't have a lot to obviously talk about. I am 24. I was not around back then. But I did look up some matches, and I did watch some before coming on today. And I can say he was a very big dude, very strong guy. And he really busted the door in for African Americans in professional wrestling, from what I read and researched. Like I said, it said that he was the first ever African American to hold a wrestling championship. And then he was inducted into the WWF Hall of Fame in class of 1994. And then he was Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame class of 1996. Again, I was not around a lot for that. A few matches I watched, but if any of you guys watch this and know a specific match that might pop up and go, oh my God, Bobo versus this person was amazing, I would love to sit down and watch. I always want to expand my knowledge of wrestling, so I would love to sit down and watch it. So just let me know. Then we're going to go into the man, the honestly knocked the door down in WCW and probably WWE, Ron Simmons. We're going to talk about the man, Ron Simmons. And sorry, actually, totally forgot about this. Really fast. Sorry about this, guys. So if you guys are watching, you guys don't know who any of these guys are. This right here is Bobo. Why is he not pop? There he is. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. This right here is Bobo Brazil. He was from my knowledge, the first ever African American wrestler to hold a wrestling belt. And then we're going to go into Ron Simmons. Damn. And the Ron Simmons. He debuted in 1986. He retired in 2010. He was 6'2" and 270 pounds. Some titles he held were the NWA Florida Heavyweight title 1 time, the Memphis Championship Wrestling Southern Tag Team titles 1 time, the WCW World Heavyweight Championship 1 time, the WWF Tag Team titles 3 times, and he was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2012. Now, some of his earlier matches I do not remember, but I do remember some of his time with the APA. And from what I've got told with my grandmother and my mother, I got told about his time in the Ministry of Darkness. I got told about his time before all of that. So I don't know as much about Ron Simmons. And again, if you guys have any matches, Ron Simmons versus this person was amazing. Let me know. Again, I would love to watch them. Would love to expand my knowledge. But the Ron Simmons that I remember is the APA Ron Simmons. And that was kind of ending at that time. And the damn Ron Simmons was coming in. And that's the Ron Simmons I know. The damn. That is so. like I said, I don't really know Ron Simmons, the beast that he once was. So please give me matches. I'll watch them, let you guys know. Now, let's go on to Rocky Johnson, The Rock's dad. Now, Rocky Johnson debuted in 1964. He retired in 1991. He was 6'2". He weighed 262 pounds. Some of the titles he held were the NWA World Tag Team titles 4 times, the AWA Tag titles 4 times, the NWA Georgia Heavyweight title 2 times, the NWA TV title 2 times, NWA American Heavyweight title 1 time in the Hollywood territory, WWF Tag Team titles 1 time, and he was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2008. Again, another man I really wasn't around to watch, really wasn't around to see, but I heard a lot of stories and I hear about him still to this day. Again, I've seen some matches here and there, but at the end of the day, I was not one to, see him a lot. I don't know. Like when you mention Rocky Johnson, a match doesn't pop in my mind. So if one does to you, please comment below. So with that being said, we're going to get on to some of the women that broke the barrier for the women of today. First, we have Ethel Johnson. She debuted in 1952. She retired in 1976. She was the first African-American woman wrestler ever. She stood at 5'5" and she weighed 115 pounds. She held the Colored Women's World title 3 times and the NWA World Tag Team titles 1 time. Now, her championship list is not a lot, but the fact that she was the first ever African-American woman to wrestle means something. She actually was the one who busted that door down for the rest of the women of today. Then, let's go on to, I'll just put it up for a second. Jacqueline Moore, better known as just Jacqueline. She debuted in 1988. And she is still wrestling to this day on the independent circuit, so she technically did not retire. She is 5'3" and 119 pounds. She has, the Independent Association of Wrestling Women's Championship 1 time, the USAA Women's Championship 14 times, US Wrestling Association, just so USWA, that's what it stands for. WWF Women's Champion 2 times, WWE Cruiserweight Champion 1 time, and she was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2016. Now, Jacqueline, I remember a little bit more than everybody else on this list. Now, do I remember a lot? No. She was kind of on the way out of WWE at that time, WWF probably. And so I seen some of her matches. Again, not a wrestler that if someone says Jacqueline, I can say, oh my God, her match was amazing. So again, you guys have any matches with any of these people, I would love to watch them. I have free time tomorrow, so please send the matches in. I would love to watch. Now, this will be something I am doing every single show. I'll be doing Black History Month the whole month. So I'll be picking people from different generations. These guys busted the door down because Jacqueline was the first ever African-American WWE women's champion. These people I mentioned today have busted the door down for the people of today, for the wrestlers of today, for the female wrestlers of today. They have kicked the door, busted the door, and have opened doors for the next generation of African-American superstars. And that is amazing and fantastic. The fact that there has only been, I mean, there's been a lot of African Americans who made an impact in professional wrestling. There has been. But Bobo Brazil was the first ever African American professional wrestling champion. Not world champion, but champion. Ron Simmons was the first ever WCW World Heavyweight Champion, first ever African American WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Rocky Johnson, again, first African American champion in the NWA, in a territory in the NWA. Ethel Johnson, the first ever African American woman to wrestle. And then last but not least, Jacqueline, the first ever WWE African American Women's Champion. Now, that is amazing. Now, with that being said, I'm going to be, probably tomorrow, I will make a thread for Black History Month in wrestling. Every day I will post something different in the comments, whether it's an article or articles or a match or something. Because there's so many to mention and there's not enough time. So with that being said, I will have a thread to go on so we can talk about more African American wrestlers that made impacts. So yeah, but with that being said, it is your boy Loudmouth Luch. But before we go, please always remember bombshellbowling.com/loudmouth sports talk for all your loudmouth gear. And all week we have all kind of shows. Obviously, Off the Top Rope is at 4 p.m., but we always have shows on. So stay tuned. Until next time, guys, out. Peace.